Hello. I just wanted to come on and make a little video about being awake and how I became awake in the world, what led me to becoming awake. So, for me, it really started a long time ago. I'm 48 now. Um, I really started reading and researching when I was about 22, but ever since I was young, I remember being about 12, one of the first books I ever bought with my allowance money was Whitley Strieber's Communion, which that's about aliens. And, I've always been interested in odd topics like aliens, conspiracy theories, secret societies, things like that. And because of that, it has been hard to sometimes connect with people. But one of the first things, other than, being interested in aliens, I had heard about secret societies. And I wanted to know what is so secret about the secret societies. What is the secret knowledge that they have? And, I got a little pissed off. How dare, if somebody has knowledge that they try to withhold it from mankind, that isn't right. So that sent me off in my journey to really, search things out. And this was before the internet. I remember going to the library, uh, going to the bookstore and buying books and just basically getting my hands on whatever I could find, and one of my first experiences of people really now calling me crazy was it was in 1999. I met a girl that I actually did connect with on this, and we were speaking, and she was the first person that ever mentioned the word Illuminati to me. I had never heard of it, but I was fascinated, and I listened to her talk. Of course, she didn't know everything, but just to learn that new term, it gave me new avenues to research. And I remember her telling me that part of their plan was to make everybody get rid of their analog television so that we could all switch to digital. And when I found this out, I remember I went to my mom. I said, this is their plan. They're going to make us all switch to digital TVs. And her reaction was just like, come on, Kelly, what are you crazy? The government's going to make us all throw our TVs away. And when it happened, I remember going now back to my mom. I don't even know if she remembered the conversation, but I said, do you remember me telling you they were going to make us get rid of our TVs? We all need digital TVs, and then after these things come to fruition, after I talk about them, then that helps to maybe open people's eyes. Another big thing for me was, of course, the chemtrails. I'm speaking on chemtrail years ago when I was married. Now I'm divorced over 10 years, and people would think I'm crazy. Oh, Kelly, why would the government do that? Why would they do that? This, that, the other thing. But now, I think that they are a little more awake. They look up, they see what's happening, and same thing about recording calls. I remember telling them that, they're recording all of our calls. Oh, Kelly, you're crazy. Why would they be recording our calls? What do you think? They're going to listen to everybody's conversation? It's not that they're listening to our conversation in real time, but it is all stored up there. And I remember saying, well, Scott Peterson, when they thought he killed his wife, they were able to pull down these calls. I said, they're up there, it's happening, and just things like this, time after time after time, uh, being called crazy, it's hurtful. One very hurtful time in my life was this was just a few years ago now, maybe 2 years ago. I was at my mom's Christmas party and I overheard her talking to my aunt now, and she didn't know that I could hear her, but she said, oh God, we all thought Kelly was crazy, but turns out she was right about some of this. And it was very hurtful. I'm like thinking, these people, my own family, are having side conversations about the state of my mental health because I'm trying to awaken them and I research things. But then again, it was also very vindicating because I could see just from their conversation that they kind of believe what some of the things that I've said. I remember being at a convention with my brother, and we met a young preacher. So it's kind of like synchronicity when people bring this stuff up out of nowhere. He's asking me because I told him that I'm into Jesus, and he was asking me what do I think about aliens and the ancient gods like Zeus and whatnot, and how I think it all fit in. Which you get that a lot from people. Well, do you think what does God think about aliens, this, that, or the other thing? And I just remember my brother giving me that look like, don't mention the aliens. You know, he was a little upset. But after we were speaking, he listened to our conversation. And at the end of it, I remember him saying to me, wow, you know, how did you know all that? And I think he was just, you know, shocked that I could speak on this with a preacher. And, you know, I think that helped him maybe to open his eyes a little bit. It was funny because just a couple weeks ago now, I was at a family function, and my brother says to me, Kelly, there was disclosure. They said it on Fox News, you know, about the aliens. Now, I don't watch TV, so I didn't really know, but I was asking him about it. But, you know, it's just funny. And the thing is, I feel, I'm a Christian, I feel that God awakened me to this by putting these interests in me. It's very strange. I admit it myself. It's strange to be like interested in aliens and conspiracy theories and this, that, the other thing. And because of that, I find that, you know, it is hard to connect with people. It's hard to connect with friends, with family. You know, they basically, they just call you crazy and dismiss it until disclosure happens. You know, then you were right all along. But even now, if I bring up something new, after all the history of this now, they still think I'm crazy. You know, I've been trying to talk to people about 5G. They don't get it. They don't get it. But the thing is, you know, if you're a truther and you're into this, you have to be a strong person. You have to have an open mind to be open to new ideas. And you have to be able to stand in front of somebody, usually more than one person, that is going to make fun of you and laugh at you, and be strong and not give a shit what they think. And I'm happy to say that, you know, sometimes, not all the time, I'm able to do that, you know. And I've had religious dreams. I have some dreams on here about rapture, and, you know, I've been having, you know, some problems these last couple of years, so I haven't been posting stuff like that. But, you know, I really do want to get back into it. And part of it is, you know, is being bold and being fearless, and, you know, screw anybody that's trying to keep you down. I always ask this question: what makes one man or a group of men think they can rule over others? We're all created equally, and that really pisses me off, you know. But yeah, you have to be a strong person. And I really wanted to make this video with one of my favorite YouTube personalities in mind. That's Richie from Boston. I love you, Richie. And my 8-year-old son listens to you every night before we go to bed. You know, I put my little YouTube next to us. He's like, let's listen to Richie from Boston. And we love, he imitates you, Richie. Says, hey, YouTube, what's up? It's Richie from Boston. Like, share, subscribe, or don't. You know, we love that, and we love you, and we really appreciate you being bold and spreading the word. And you have to be bold. You have to be strong, and you have to be fearless. And I just met this guy not long ago. He's a tough guy. He was in the Army. He was an interrogator, very intelligent. And, you know, I speak to everybody about Jesus and about the conspiracy, which, by the way, I feel that Jesus is a major part of the picture, the battle between good and evil. That's the secret behind the secret society. It's actually going on. They're in contact with demons. They call down powers. People think I'm crazy even now. I always preface it by saying, you're going to think I'm crazy, but this is what it is. But he's a tough guy, Army interrogator, and, you know, he engaged in the conversation with me. I was talking about frequencies, 5G, you know, different things going on. And, you know, I said, if you really want to research it, I'll give you some YouTube links. He said, no. I said, I don't want any record of me searching this out. And it's like, here, this big tough guy, Army interrogator, is afraid to even search something out on the internet because he knows now, he must know that they are tracking you. You know, and I made a joke. I'm already probably on the red list. I'm going to be killed, you know, if we make it that far. I'm praying, I'm a pre-tribber. I'm praying for the pre-trib rapture, you know. But it just goes to show you, like, not only the cowardice of some people, but the willful ignorance. Here is somebody speaking on it. He's engaging me, kind of playing devil's advocate, but he's not willing to look up the truth. you know. And I love what Richie from Boston said. You know, he's like, because I'll say things and people will be like, how do you know? How do you know? You know, did you read these documents? Now, like Richie from Boston would say, no, I didn't actually go to the bottom of the Vatican and read these documents, but, you know, it's out there if you want to search it. There are a lot of things that are out there, you know, government records. For example, I live in Pennsylvania. People in Graterford Prison sued the government for microchip implantation, you know, and they were experimenting with different frequencies that would make you hostile or aggressive or passive, you know, and I'm trying to explain this to the guy. And, you know, like I said, cowardice and willful ignorance. He didn't even want to look it up, you know, and it's hard connecting with people because, you know, I think pretty ignorant to call someone crazy when you're not even willing to research it, you know, but you have to be bold. You have to be strong. You have to have an open mind. Now, I love when people tell me this. Oh, Kelly, where'd you read that? Off the internet? Oh, you're gullible. You believe everything. My response to that is I obviously don't believe everything, or I would be believing what the mainstream media is telling us, what science is telling us. I don't believe it. I'm searching it out for myself, and I take what I can and I leave what I can't use, and I form my own opinion, not from one source, from many sources. And I always say to people, you know, these are PhD scientists, very prominent people. It's not like some homeless guy on the street that like is crazy speaking on this, you know. And you know, it always comes back to, especially with you know, people that I really love, you know, well, how do you know? Did you see the documents? They're lying. They made it up. It was on the internet. It cracks me up how they think that the mainstream news, I mean, that's just like the internet. The internet is at least full of more perspectives, more information, you know. And you know, you take what you can and you leave the rest and you form your own opinion. But as far as people telling me I'm gullible because I'm getting this off the internet and I believe it, it's just the opposite. I'm not gullible, or I wouldn't be researching it. You know, I'd be believing what they're telling us. But you know, how I really all got into this, and it led me to the ultimate truth, which is my faith in Jesus. You know, I've always been a Christian since I was young, but you know, if someone were to ask me, you know, what's going on, it's hard for people to believe, but it's exactly like it says in the Bible. It's the battle between good and evil. And we are fighting the powers of the prince of the power of the air, of Satan. And even though you can't see him, even though he probably doesn't come and manifest in front of you and talk to you, he is affecting your life. He is trying to bring you down. You know, I tell people sometimes, you know, that I feel that I hear from Jesus. Now, he doesn't appear in front of me and speak to me. I don't hear him audibly, but, you know, Jesus works through people. And I always, you know, tell people that, you know, when someone talks to you about Jesus, that is him trying to get your attention, you know. But what really led me to all this, like I said, was my researching conspiracies and, you know, the occult. I was just sharing with a loved one an occult video last night. It was a true story, like an interview. And he said to me, you know, I don't feel right watching this, you know, it's evil. And you know what, it might be evil, the things that are happening, but it's not evil to learn about it. You need to know your enemy. You need to know your enemy. How can you fight your enemy if you don't know how it operates? So, you know, I was interested in all this, the occult, the aliens, the secret societies, the conspiracies, you know, and it all led me to my final analysis. It's the battle between good and evil. And, you know, there's a lot going on behind the veil, behind the scenes that we can't see. And, you know, if you research into what the government or technologies they have, they use demonology. And, you know, damn sure if they're researching it, it's and using it, it's real. And if there's demons, then there's got to be a God. And to me, you know, Jesus is the truth. And I really feel blessed because even though I don't really connect with people, they may laugh at me and call me crazy, you know I know the truth. I always say I feel like I'm in a movie, you know, like one of those movies where like I'm the only person that knows the bomb is coming and I'm like frantically trying to warn people. and they just don't get it. I feel like that. I feel like I'm frantically trying to warn people. I know what's going on, but they don't want to know. They don't want to know. And it's very disheartening. And like Richie says, the only thing we can do is keep fighting to wake people up. There's not going to be a revolution. I believe what there's not going to be. There's not. It's all foretold. And every Christian I feel believes. I believe they question their faith at some point. And when people ask me, how do you know that that's the truth? How do you know? Well, other than having my own personal experiences and what I've been through, the prophecies in the Bible, they've all pretty much all, there's a few remaining, but been fulfilled. And I once read an article like the chances of just Jesus fulfilling his prophecies, coming to earth as Messiah, it's like flying over a jungle, dropping a quarter out of a plane, then doing another pass, dropping the quarter and having it land exactly on top of that quarter. Like the odds against it are phenomenal. So when you see all this happening, that's one way that like I know that this is the truth, and it's still being fulfilled faster than ever. Very scary, and you always hear you got to put on the full armor of God. There's nothing we can do to stop it. It's foretold it will happen, but we will be victorious, and recently I have an 8-year-old son. I'm very, very scared about the 5G with him. And I'm very scared about him going to a FEMA camp. He already knows. Don't ever take that mark. Even if they tell you, oh, your mommy took the mark, she's out there waiting for you. All you have to do is take the mark and you can be with mommy. I told him, don't believe it. It's better to be dead than to be in hell forever. And thinking of this, sometimes it makes me cry uncontrollably. So I really have like chilled out on that a lot. I really can't even bring myself to think about it. But ultimately God is in control, and that gives us comfort. At least it gives me comfort. It cracks